All right, welcome everybody to our 2024 season. Glad to have you all with us. I have a couple of CIAC announcements first. Take about a minute, and then we'll go right to Doyle and his presentation on the updates for the I Want to Maker program and our CIAC golf app. First thing to know is if you're a girls golf coach, we have a new tournament director. We thank Carrie Fisher for Carrie Gettings for her service to the CIAC for all those years. And our new tournament director for the girls will be Rich Szymanski. Second, you should know that the Open this year will be held at Mohegan Sun on Friday, June 7th. Blackhall was wonderful to us for 6 years. They agreed to host it for 5 years. However, they went over that. They were a wonderful host. They gave up Saturday afternoon for us. And we thank them greatly for getting our Open off the ground. But this year, the Open will be held at Mohegan Sun, and that will be on Friday morning, June 7th. Additionally, this year, all our schools will be using the app as the main scoring system. There will be no more paper cards. Everybody will be using the app. There's no debating it or changing it or doing something different in your league. Everybody uses the app as the main scoring system. Unless you are having reception trouble, then of course you're allowed to use a card and then enter later. New this year is that the CIAC is allowing 2 in-season tournaments. So tournaments such as the Chapa or 2-man events or best ball events, those kinds of things. You're allowed 2 of those in addition to your 16 play dates. So we look at each date that counts as a play date, not a match. So you don't count the number of matches, you count the number of play dates you have. So if you have a 3-team match, that's 1 date, right? You don't count it 3 times, it's 1 date. And you're allowed 16 dates. And then this season, you're also allowed 2 in-season tournaments. The final thing I want to let you know is that the divisions are not set yet. So we've gone to this process of waiting till just before the season starts, before determining divisions. And that's because in golf, we have a lot of schools that either add or drop last minute, depending on the number of students you get out for your team. So we haven't published the divisions yet. I'm working on that now, and hopefully next week we'll get the divisions out. And again, we're waiting last minute so we could have the divisions accurately defined when we publish them, rather than put out divisions and then 3 or 4 schools drop, and then we have a division that doesn't have the right number of schools in it. So the divisions are not set at this point. All right, Doyle, are you ready?
I am ready.
All right, go ahead. It's yours.
Let me share my screen here. Welcome, coaches. Good to see you guys again. I am excited to show you what we've been working on. We released version 3 in December, and I've been waiting so long. We started this whole thing in 2011, so we ran on version 2 for many years. And there was a lot of features that we added to version 2, but ultimately getting on version 3, we have a much more modern look. And there's a lot of things behind the scenes that got a lot better too, with the scalability and the first thing that you're going to notice, and this was asked for years, is like, what if I need to make a change to a pairing and I'm out on the golf course and I don't have access to a full desktop? Well, this design is fully responsive, and you can see as I make my browser narrower, it sort of scales, right? And so if I log in, by the way, before I log in, if you can get to the help without having to log in. So if you want to go in and read about the documentation, watch videos, you can do that just by going to iwantamaker.com and then click on the help. And now you're going to be able to then access all that information. Again, nothing has changed with the CIAC golf app. It is connected to iwantamaker.com. It's powered by iwantamaker.com. So if you're new, then go get the CIAC golf app and then come here. right? And if you are new, I recommend grab the golf coach's introduction, open that up, and you can read about all the things that we talk about here, all the different states that are using. Now we got a total of 30 states that are using the application. Here are the golf coaches top 10. So just be aware of that. So it all starts by getting the app. And then after you get registered as a coach, come here and simply log in. And as I said, once you log in, you're going to land on a page that looks a lot different than before. This right here, now because I'm not a coach in the state of Connecticut or the state of Florida or whatever, I land on the national view. Okay, so you as a coach, if you're the coach of a school, you're going to land on your school's homepage. If you don't, then email support and we can get it fixed. Some things that are new here is, like I said, the national view. But at the top here, there's a new thing called favorites. So this allows me or you to favorite things. You could favorite an event, a golfer, a school, a state association, a golf club or course. And so you can use those, right? So in this example, let's say that I'm in Minnesota and I'm at the end of the season and I'm only interested in the boys and girls AA state. So I can just click there and jump over to the girls AA state and go here and jump over to the boys AA state. So you're going to notice that the system's a lot faster than version 2. And that feature, the favorites feature, is going to help you navigate the site much easier. Okay, so to keep that in mind, that you're going to be able to do that just by popping back and forth like that. To get back up to the national view, you're going to click the I Want to Maker logo, and this will have events across the entire United States, golfers, rankings, right? So now you can see how your team stacks up against other teams in the United States, and then leagues. Leagues was always there before. Okay, so I can click on leagues here. I can click on leagues over here too. And also the menu, you can make the menu stick if you click up here on this menu item. Or if you know the icons, you can just, go over that and then I can go to leagues. I can get to the leagues going here or here, right? So I'm going to just click on view leagues here and I'm going to go down and I'm going to click on the CIAC and then I can make that a favorite. Now you should already have it as a favorite. So if I make that a favorite, then now I can go down and right here it is. I can just go to that favorite, okay? To navigate to schools, I just simply click on that and I go here to this school and I can make that a favorite as well. Okay, so by default, all of you should have the CIAC as a favorite and your school as a favorite. In addition to that, when you log in, you should land on, if I'm the coach from Abbott Tech, I'm going to land right here, right? And so now I'll be able to easily manage my events, my rosters, and look at rankings and that sort of thing. So I probably picked a school that probably isn't real active. I'm going to see if I can find someone that's more active. Here we go. We'll do Bacon Academy. So now if I'm a coach from Bacon Academy and Greg and Dave are coaches, so if I'm Greg and I can zoom in, by the way, zooming in, if the text is a little bit too small for you, just hit Control plus and to zoom out, Control minus. Control 0, or actually on a Macintosh, Command 0 takes you back to the normal zoom. So if you're having a problem seeing something, make sure you go back to the normal zoom. I like to be zoomed in a little bit so I can see the text a little bit better. So watch now, if I take this mouse and I make this narrower, if I make my screen narrower, notice what happens. Everything is still very usable, right? I can go down to the width and notice how things just drop off at the top there. So now I have the ability to make a change to a pairing out on the first tee, for example. Okay, so if I'm a coach, I land here. Now, I can easily go back up to the top, to the CIAC homepage by clicking right here. You can see where my mouse is. So now I am at the state level, okay? And now I can go to schools, golfers, members, rosters, rankings at the state level, okay? So, and once I'm here, now I can go into any event. Some of the things that you're going to notice are different is that you'll never see a practice event here. Okay. To see practice events, you're going to have to go into your school, both on the app and here, to see that practice event. And at the request of coaches throughout the US, they didn't want the practice events cluttering up the main page. So we put those underneath the school. The other thing that was requested was to be able to hide them. So if you want to hide your event, and remember, you're going to be hiding it from everyone except for you and the golfers on your team, the golfers that are in that event. Parents will not be able to see it, right? So keep that in mind. I'll show you where that is here in a little bit. So I can see that people have already put some, are building out the schedule. There's 119 events so far. I'm seeing the first 25 here. I can scroll up and down. So creating an event is very simple. The create event button is here, but also if I go under a school and then I click create event, I can do it there as well. So this is where you'll create your practice and your regular season, in-season events and all that sort of thing. So creating event, I'll just do it. I'll show you I'm not going to create one, but I'm going to show you the steps. It's very simple. So you come in, it talks about what you're going to have to do and the different formats that are supported. You're going to pick boys or girls, practice, regular season, invitational, league. Joe requested we change that to league championship. That's not been done yet, but I think you guys will understand the difference between league and league championship, but that name is going to change. And then you got your in-season, and Joe just said that you get, what, 2 of those, I think is what you said. Is that right, Joe?
That's right.
Okay, so you get only 2 of those, and then the rest will be according to what you will need to do there. Okay.
Yeah,
So,
Don, if I can interrupt 1 second.
yes.
So for that in-season thing, if you're a school that hosts an in-season tournament, with a different format, that's not going to count as regular season, then the host school will just, we will create that event, at all the schools and then designate it as in-season. But for all your regular season events, the dual matches and the tri matches, it's regular season.
Okay. So once you've selected that, and you can go back and change that too, you go to your courses. And now what I said earlier about adding a favorite course, go ahead and do that, right? Go search on, you can search on your course up here, your club, and find it and then just start it. That'll add it to your favorites. Then it'll show up here too. See, so now I can just click right here and I can add this to the event. So now that course is in this event. I'm not going to create this event, like I said. I can search by state too. And then you go to select participants. So that you saw that first screen, then you do the next thing, the options, and then you add your course. And now here, let's say that I'm the coach at Bacon Academy. I'm going to click that, and I'm going to import that school. And then I'm going to choose the visiting schools, right? And I'm just going to grab 2 here. I'm not going to finish creating this anyway. But now I've got my host and my visitors. Okay, and now I can finalize the event. It's going to give it a name. You can change that if you want. And then I can finish and it'll create that event. Okay, I'm not actually going to do that. I'm going to go back here to events. And so I'm back here now. So I'm back at Bacon Academy. And so once that's done, you're going to land on this page for that event that you just created. Okay, so now we've got a new task list, if you will, for your event. Because many times coaches didn't understand that they had to do pairings, for example. Well, we thought, let's give them a task list. So what's been done so far? You've added your course, you've got your teams in there, no golfers have been imported yet, a round has been created for you, and you got pairings. Okay, so different from version 2, every event has a round. Why not, right? Every event it doesn't do any good to have an event if you're not going to have a round, and every round has to have pairings. And in order to do pairings, you have to have golfers, right? So here's your task list. So how do I start working on that task list? Well, this menu is a little bit different now because I'm at an event. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go through how to edit this event and set it up. I'm going to back out all the things that I do, but I want to show you how that's all done. So I'm going to click on edit event. And on this first options page, here's where you set all the options, okay? And I'm not going to go through a lot of these things in detail. I can see that this is a regular season event. It's boys. They're not using flights. By the way, about flights, I don't know if you guys will ever use this, but the reason it's there, it was a request of, I think, some schools in Ohio who run a big event, and they wanted to have the ability to flight all the teams from one conference and all the teams from another conference. So then they also wanted the full leaderboard too for everyone. So it's just for bigger style events, and maybe one of those in-season events where you could say, hey, we could build flights for all these different conferences and see who's the best in that conference. That is what flights are. It's just a grouping of teams and players. Okay, so I'm not sure if you'll ever use it, but it's there if you're wondering. Okay, so more about on this page here. If this was a practice event, and coach, whoever owns this event, I'm not going to save my changes, but if I do click on practice, now you can see that I can limit the event visibility. And if I do that, that means it's hidden from everyone except for the members of this event. Keep that in mind, okay? Because we get calls and it's like, I can't see this event, I'm a parent. And let them know that you don't want them seeing the practice events. Just communicate with them, right? Because they might be watching the practice events, okay? So that's that. Now I'm going to discard the changes here, but I just wanted to show you that if I do change it to practice, I have that visibility change. Another thing that to be aware of, let's say you create an event and you happen to pick the wrong host. So this logo here, all it is, it's the logo of the host team. So that's when we have you pick a host and guests, all we're doing is we're just picking that, we're branding that event with that school's logo. So if you create an event and you say, oh shoot, I picked the wrong host, just go get a new logo, get the logo for that team, and you're good to go. Okay. So that's where the logo comes from. I covered a lot of things there on that. So go to courses next, and you can see that they added a course here. I could have clicked on state, and that's pretty simple, right? Find my course and add it to the event. I can still edit the course, right? Just like you were able to do in version 2. I can name the tee something custom if I want to. And then I can look at different tees, right? So that's that. Make sure that you're picking the right gender, right, for your events. And more importantly, this is only looking at the scorecard. This has nothing to do with assigning this tee to the players in the event. That comes later. Okay. So this is just looking at the scorecard, like grabbing a scorecard off the shelf in a clubhouse, taking a look at it. No decisions have been made which tee box you're playing or who's playing from what tee. Okay. So that happens later in the round step. Okay, so after you're done with your courses, now you're going to go on to your team step. Okay, so here is where I will add. Now, if I want to, what's different here? I mean, you notice this, right? There's no buttons cluttering up the screen. Everything is done. You do work by clicking on the ellipse, this 3 dots right here. So if I needed to add teams from the league into this event, or if I wanted to add additional teams from the same school, I click right here. Okay, I'm not going to do that now, but that's how you would do that. To add golfers to this team, I just click the ellipse, add golfers, and then I can select. And I'm going to actually sort on this because it's going to make me seed these players. So I'm going to try and get some that are already seeded. And I forget, what do you guys do? 5 count 4?
That's right.
Okay, so I'm going to do 5 here, right? And so now it says it, got to seed them, right? Because now, and the reason we do that is because there's a possibility that you might bring more than that, right? So if you bring 8 or whatever, right? So when you seed them 1 through 8, we're only going to use 1 through 5 to calculate the team score. 6, 7, and 8 will not be included in the team score. So that's why we're saying you got to seed. We can't turn it off sometimes and turn it on others. You always got to seed your players, right? So seed your players when you get them in. We'll save that. And then I'm going to add some golfers from this team here. And also, by the way, while I don't know if you're new, this eye swoosh right here, this coach did a great job. All of the golfers have the app and are ready to go, right? So that means that they are ready to score. So if your golfer doesn't have that swoosh, tell them to get the app. If they said, I already got the app, coach, then reach out to support@iwantamaker.com. How do you find that information? Right here. So you just open up support@iwantamaker.com. You got an email or you got a phone number. Call us. We're always picking up the phone and we love to hear from you guys. So I'm going to import those 5 players. It says I got to seed them. So I go down here and look, and I need a number 2, and I need a number 4, and I'm going to change this one to 5. Okay, so now I've got my players seated 1 through 5, right? Got my players in the event. I can take them out right here, put them back in. And then on members, nothing's really changed here. I got my managers, I got my coaches. The reason that we have the 2 separate is in bigger tournaments. Maybe Joe wants to limit who can edit the event, so he can take a bunch of coaches out, because every single coach from all these teams that get added to the event are automatically added as managers and coaches. But if Joe wants to limit that, he can take them out. What's different this year is that a coach can always manage their team. Okay, so even if you're not a manager, you can still manage your team in this event. So you can edit the event. All you're going to see is the team step. Okay, so if you're only a coach but not a manager and you click edit, you're going to see only the team. You're not going to see all these other things. So you can't mess with any other parts of the event. Okay, so it's still a communication tool. I can select and I can send messages. Okay, so that's still available. If I go to the golfer step, I always want to go here and make sure that all the kids are ready to score, right? And you can see they are, right? So when they come, we know that and I'll show you after I do the pairings that it's going to automatically assign the markers for this event. So once we've verified that, we're going to go to rounds. And now if I want to add another round, which not likely in this situation because this is a smaller event, I can add a round here. Okay, your round is down here. Okay, and this is the one you're going to work on. Now notice in this, there's a lot going on in this little ellipse here. You can edit the round, you can close the round, you can make it a qualifying round. And for you guys, it's important. In fact, we have to go back. We didn't have this feature last year. So I think there's some events that we're going to have to go back and I think for even the state, if Leanna hasn't done it already, we got to go mark those rounds as not qualifying rounds, right? And if I go in there, you can see what I'm talking about. So this event here, I can make it a qualifying round. I can set it to none, the front 9, the back 9, or full. So for the state tournaments, you don't want those included in the rankings. We got to go set them to none. Okay. So that feature is there. And so, and that's what we're going to have to do for those in-season events because they don't count towards it's not a qualifying round, right? So we're going to set both of those to none. They'll still be available in the all rounds of the rankings, but not when you go to qualifying rounds or when you go to the state qualifiers. Okay. It's important to know that only the qualifying rounds will be included. So if you see your event that is in there, it shouldn't be, then you got to talk to the coaches and say, hey, we got to go mark that as not qualifying, right? Yeah, okay, let's go get it done. Okay, so that's that part. So I'm going to discard changes there. And then, so then I'm going to go back to rounds again, and I'm going to, so I'm going to go in and I'm going to go through these things in a little bit, these override scores, seeds, and eligibility. But let's go ahead and edit the round and pairings, and let's get some pairings in here so we can start to do some other things. So this part hasn't changed. You still got the number of golfers per team, the scores to count, shotgunner standard, intervals, 9 holes, 18, all that sort of thing, default tee box. And so now I can right here, I can add 5 pairings, for example. Probably don't need that many for this one, but let's go ahead and sort by seed. And I'm going to grab the 1s and 2s here, and we'll add them. So very similar. What you're going to notice is that things are very similar to the way they were last year, right? Or in version 2. It's just that you just have to get to the operator a little bit different, the button, so to speak, right? I can leave these extra 2 pairings, it doesn't hurt. So now I click save, and now this event is ready to score. All the markers have been assigned. And so now how do I get back out to the leaderboard, back to the event homepage? Right here, right? So I'm in edit event mode now. To go out of edit event mode, I just click on event home. And now I'm looking at the leaderboard. And if I want to look at the individual leaderboard, I can do that here. Okay. And now if I want to go to the details for the event, and let's say I want to print out some paper scorecards as a backup, I can go to the details, to rounds, click right here, and I can print individual scorecards. That's going to kick out a PDF, and I can take a look at that. I could send that to the printer, cut them up, give them to the players on the day of the event. So here's where the event information and the rules are going to show up. To get to actually create those, let's go back into edit event mode, and let's go to information. And right here, you'll create it right here. You can add event information here, and then you can add rules here. And you can add multiple rule sheets, for example. So I could have a rule sheet for coaches, for whatever reason, right? And maybe a rule sheet for the kids, right? So now you can pick an audience. Who's going to see this rule sheet? Who's going to see that event information? You can even do a separate one for the spectators as you do for the coaches and managers. Okay, so that was a request from Minnesota, and so we added it because, well, it's a good idea, right? So I'm going to discard that, and now let's go back out. Actually, while I'm here, I didn't go to the leaderboard step. So you saw the information and rules, but this hasn't changed, right? Here's where you can pick your default leaderboard. If I set this to individual gross, now the individual gross is the default. Tiebreakers set to none and none. If you want to pick a tiebreaker, you can do that here, okay? And then you can turn off, let's say you want to do a practice event and you want to do it as a team stroke play, but you don't want the team leaderboard. Now you could do individual stroke play if you want, but let's just say you did a team stroke play and you made, oh shit, I wish I had done individual. Turn it off. Turn off the leaderboard and go here and save that. And then if I go to event home, now I only have one choice. I just turned off the team leaderboard. How do I turn it back on? Edit the event, go to leaderboards, check the box, save it, go back out again, and now I've got an individual leaderboard and a team leaderboard. Okay. One thing about the team leaderboard, if you have an event where you've got not full teams that maybe brought one kid, you do have the ability now on the team step, and you had this before too, by the way, you can exclude that team right here. So by default, all teams are included. We're not going to rank a non-full team. You got to have at least 4 to be ranked. But if you don't want those teams to be there, we're not going to, like I said, we're not going to rank them, but you can exclude them if you want. Okay. So that's how you can control which teams show up on the leaderboard. Okay. So here we are back, and notice how it went to the individual gross because I set that as my default. Okay. And so now I've got this all set. Let's take a look at the pairings. This is how I paired them. I did a 4-some, a 3-some, and a 3-some. Okay. So now I'm going to go to the markers. And you can see the marker assignments, who's marking for who. And then at the end, and by the way, the golfers, when Alex fires off that app, he's going to come to that first tee at 1 o'clock and tell Chase, hey, Chase, I'm your marker, right? I'm marking for you. So please report your scores to me. At the end of each hole, they'll do that. At the end of 9 holes, there'll be a notification on the app saying, congratulations on finishing your round. You should probably go sign your scorecard, right? So touch on your scorecard and review your scores and sign it, right? And then it'll show up here on who signed their scorecards, okay? So that's that part. The other thing where you can see the signatures is if you go to leaderboard, and by the way, this is a new feature where you can expand, right? So you saw how I just clicked on that. I can click on that and expand. I could actually expand a couple of them here if I wanted to. To get to the actual scorecard in a new tab, I just click right here. And that takes me to the actual scorecard. It opens up a new tab up here, right? That's what that just did. So I'm going to go back to the original tab and I'm going to collapse on that, okay? So that's how you can navigate that. Another thing that I want to make a note of is on the team, this has changed. If you click on a team and that team has more than 5 players, we're going to put that 6th and 7th player down below here. So you're going to see here are the 5 that are seeded 1 through 5. Here's the team score, the best 4 out of those 5. And the players that are not included are down below. Okay, so it's very clear as to which ones are included in that team score. Okay, so that is how that part works. When I click on a team. Let's see what else here. Oh, scoreboards. Scoreboards has been enhanced, and it used to get stuck before at the bottom of the leaderboard. So now it continues to go. And so all you have to do is put it in motion is click here and click go. And then it'll cycle through the individuals, go to the team, back to the individuals, and it'll just keep going all day long. As long as the power stays good on that laptop, it'll continue to go. Okay, so I'll close that one out. That's the scoreboard piece. And now down here, we've gone through all of these. And now the last one is overrides. Okay, so let's say that I needed to edit the scores for this particular event. I would click on overrides, and that takes me to the same. Now I'm actually in edit event mode, right? But I got to get to the round step. And so I click here and I can override scores. You pick a pairing, and now you can enter in scores for if you need to make a modification. You have the ability to do this, managers only, right? I'm not a manager of this event, so I can't put scores in. But you as a manager could. Now you can do it here, or you can do it on the app. So if you're out there in the golf course and some kiddo phone died, and that person can't, now obviously who they're marking for doesn't have scores, you as a manager of the event can just go touch on overrides, go to the pairing, and put some scores in for that golfer who doesn't have scores for them, okay? So just know that you as managers have the ability to help the golfers if they're having a problem, okay? Now, you also have the ability to mark a golfer as ineligible, right? For whatever reason. Let's say that you had to WD someone, okay? So if I go to override eligibility, I can change right here this golfer to withdrew. The system will automatically reassign the markers in that group. Okay, just know that. All you have to do is WD them, DQ them, mark them as no-show, whatever. Once their status has changed, that they're not playing anymore, we're going to automatically reassign the markers. So all that can be done on the fly. You can be out on the golf course and the golfer can get sick. Jump on the app, overrides, find the pairing, find the golfer, mark them as withdrew, and boom, all the other golfers are refreshed and can score and continue to score for each other. Okay, so that's not always understood. By the way, that is in the secure scoring document as well. So once I save this and I go back out to event home, you see that Mr. Weston here is WD'd at the bottom of the leaderboard. Okay, so that is the overrides piece. If you need to make a modification to a seed, you can do that as well by just overriding seeds. If you had some seeds that were wrong, make sure you talk to the coach if you're doing that, because we wouldn't want, you have that 8th player who's doing really good, and then all of a sudden, hey, let's make him a 5. No, that's not good, right? So once you make the decision, you got to go with it, right? But if you're making those changes, we recommend you communicate that with the other coaches. Tiebreakers is found here too. We don't have any scores yet, but you could break the ties if you needed to after the fact, right? If you want to do a manual tiebreaker, you could do that. So let's do this for a moment. I'm going to go back out. Actually, before I go back out, I'm going to answer any questions that you might have while I clean up this event. I got to kind of go in here and undo all the things that I did. So any questions, coaches?
Yeah, so if you have a question, put it in the chat. I see there's a couple already.
So let me get to the chat here. Do you have that handy, Joe? What do they say? Let me do this. Oh, here's where do I get to the chat? What was the question again, Joe? Why can't I get to the chat? Do I not have access to it? Stop, annotate, pause, apps. Oh, here it is over here. Wow, okay. Okay, so several times were pairings and I did not events wherein they did not match up. one would score for two, two. It's random. It's just random, right? You can't control that. We do our best to have if there are two golfers, four golfers total, two from each team, the system will do its best to have markers marked for someone from the other school. Okay, but it's all random, right? You can't control who's going to do what. So it'll do its best to do that. Like I said, it's random, so there's no way to control that. So you keep saying app. Is it? Yeah, yes. When I say the app, I mean the CIAC golf app. Okay. So that is how that's done. So I can't unrandomize it. That's because of all the different changes that can go on. It has to be done that way. So the NFA girls coach. Me. I'm not sure, Bill, what you're asking. So you're just telling everyone that you've got a coach with you. Okay. So, all right. So that, and by the way, the ability to assign that has been asked, but we went back to the USGA. We work with the USGA in designing this. In fact, the USGA is going to use our model and put it in the rule book, right? To be the random assignment of markers. So that is why we do things the way we do them, because we work with the USGA on this. So let me go back. I'm going to clean this up. So watch. So this event is all set up, but let's say that I needed to do something different, right? I can delete all the pairings, which will remove them all, right? So now that all the pairings are gone, that's cleaned up. I'm going to go to members now, and golfers. I'm going to select all the golfers. So you can see that it's very easy to if you have an event that you think is messed up, you can basically reset things just by getting rid of the pairings, getting rid of the golfers, and then going to to teams, and this is cleaned up. This is the way it was when I found it. Options, you can change all those. So now this event is back to the way it was before I started. Okay, you see how I just backed out of that, right? So that is the event management. When you're done with an event and you close it out, then that's it's entered into the rankings, right? So that's how that works, right? So I was going to go back here and see if I could. Well, let's just go into the fall championship here. So this is an event that's got some data, right? And so if I go to, and if I look at the scoreboard here, you're going to see now you got more information, and you got all the teams, right? You can see that some of them aren't ranked. These two didn't have a full team, okay? And I can switch. Well, if I say go now, it's going to go between. I can also switch to the individual growth if I wanted to here, and so it'll just keep going. But now you can see it where we've got a lot of players and teams and that sort of thing. So that's what it looks like there. If I go to statistics at the event level, at the end of the event, when you close the round, you're going to have all these stats, and I can use these filters to look at different things, like which team had the most, which player had the most birdies, right? Or eagles. Well, that kid had an eagle. So now we can go over to teams too. So I can see here's how the birdies all landed across all the teams. This information is then available at the state level and at the national level, right? It's all automatic. As soon as you set your event up, get it all done, get it all scored, close the round, all the rankings are updated for the event, your state, and at the national level. Okay, so that's the statistics piece that I didn't do before, right? That I didn't look at before. So let's take a look at this. So you can see that a lot of the kids signed their scorecard. Now, we weren't reminding them last year, right? Now they get reminded, but you as coaches should remind them too, is that, hey, don't forget, when you get done, you got to go review your scorecard and make sure everything is right. If it's not, get a hold of coach. If it's good, then you have your process. Obviously you got to sign their scorecard, right? In the end. So we had a few that didn't sign in this state championship last fall. Okay. So that's here again is some more data and how the pairings landed. This time here, by the way, is the time it took on average across all the holes for the golfers to put their scores in. So by hole. So after they play the hole, and let's say that you've told them, always put your scores in as you walk from green to tee. If they do that consistently, you're going to get a consistent pace of play. And you might be able to use that data at some point in time, right? To say, we tried this and we actually got a better pace of play. Share that with your fellow coaches, and you can start doing that more often. Okay, so any other questions while I read what's in the chat? Yeah, okay, so if you put 4 golfers from the same team in a pairing, we can't do much, right? Then you're gonna have golfers marking for each other. If you put 3 from the same team and 1 from another team, we're gonna do our best. We're gonna let that one golfer mark for one other one, but we're gonna have to, have golfers from the same team marking for each other because there's nothing else we can do, right? So in the future, we will have the ability the system will automatically allow one person, and this is not happening anytime soon. This is a very complicated process, right? Of having one golfer mark for other golfers. Okay, so that will be available eventually, right? But at this point, what we have seen across the United States is most of the time there's enough phones out there where we can do it this way and still be compliant with the USGA rulebook. Missing something. I am on the CIC. You cannot. Okay, so the CIC golf app is for the day of. It's for the golfers. It is to see leaderboards, to score the event, to go on your phone. Okay, so on your phone, just open up iwannamaker.com in a browser, and then you can log in and you can do all these things. Okay, so the browser is used to manage events and rosters. The app is used to score the event. Now, we will add features slowly to the app. So eventually you can do everything in the app, but that's just not there right now. So like I said, use iwannamaker.com in a browser to manage your roster, your event. Basically go to the website, what you're seeing, what I'm using here. And then know that the app is what the parents and the scores and you can use on that day of. US coaches have 2 logins. You can have the app open and the browser open at the same time. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Let's see. I got another question. When playing in a dual match with 6, is there any setting needed other than non-counting? No. All you have to do is seed them 1 through 6, and that the system will take care of it. Okay, so that's that. Okay, all right. So any other questions? Just go ahead and unmute your mic and fire away. I'm looking down here. Oh, another thing that's changed. So the stats piece. In the past, in version 2, only the marker had the ability to enter the stats for the person they're marking for. Coaches asked, hey, can we just have it so that anyone can enter the stats, even the golfer themselves? Because a lot of coaches want their golfers to enter stats in. So now the golfers can't. So if you have your golfers entering whether they hit the fairway or not, how many putts they had, we'll give you all 3 stats because we can calculate the greens in regulation. Okay, so have them put them in and you will see them on the event by round for the season. All those stats will start to accumulate. You can start to evaluate your kids based on those 3 parameters as well as the IWR. I should review real quick. So how is the IWR calculated? So that is done by simply going out to the documents and click on the iWannamaker ranking system. I'm going to zoom in a little bit here. And if you go to this document and you roll to the bottom, you'll see the formulas that are used to calculate the player and the team IWR. So I'll let you review those, and so that is how it's done. Okay, so just know that what's important there is that you assign, as you can look at the formula and know that the rating of the tee box and the slope of the tee box is critical. So make sure that you pick the right tee for the right gender. Right. So if you've got a female playing from the white tees and the boys playing from the white tees, you got to pick female white, right? Because that's what the USGA is designed to handle that gender piece. Okay. So if you see any issues with scorecards, send that request over to our support team, and we will we'll be able to get to it as soon as we get it, right? And so that takes care of that part. The other thing that we recommend, like we did last year, is to watch these first 5 videos. Okay, if you watch the first 5 videos, you're going to be a pro. And if you're a coach from last year, you're going to find that it's just kind of where to find the buttons is the only hard part. All of the processes are the same as they were before. All of the way it functions is pretty much the same. And we did that on purpose because we didn't want to confuse anyone with a whole new way to do things. The what you do, how you do it's different, but the way you do it or the process is the same. Okay. So let's see, I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I missed here. I touched on if you need to print out things, right? So I can do that under details and go to rounds and click on this to get to all of these printables here. And that just generates a PDF. If I want to navigate back up to the CIAC, I just click right there. And all the schools are in. If you need to change your logo for your school, just go into your school and you can edit. And now you have the ability to change that logo right here. Okay. That again, now I'm at this. One of the things that we are going to add that's not in there right now is additional filters here to be able for you to pick practice rounds. Let's say you just want to look at practice rounds. Practice rounds will not show up at the state level. But you will have access to them at your school level. Okay, so that's one thing that's gonna be added here. We're gonna get that filter in there, and then the other one is varsity versus junior varsity. So if you are running junior varsity events, you'll be able to separate those out as well, or look at both of them together too. Okay, so one of the first things you're gonna want to do is like I said, get the CIAC golf app. That's where you register. It's where golfers register. It's where parents so once you get in and get registered, then coaches will come here and you'll go ahead and get your events all set up like this coach has done. And then you'll want to go to your roster and you want to make sure you get all of your golfers in. If you just tell them, go get the app, your roster is going to appear right in front of you without you doing anything. If you do happen to add a golfer manually, and that golfer sitting in ad hoc, right? We call it, and there's no user connected to it. When that golfer does get the app and they say they play for Bacon Academy, it's gonna show them this list, and they're gonna say, oh, that's me, and it's gonna connect the two. It's gonna connect that login, that new logged in user with that roster entry. The swoosh will happen, and now that kid is good to go for the year. Okay, so that's how that part works. You can actually, if you want to help yourself and other coaches on the seeding piece, if you know that Aiden is maybe a 4 or 5, you can put those in here. You can always change it at the event level. Okay, that's just sort of like a starter, right? It's like to make it easier. If you said, hey, go seed your top 5, you as a host of an event, then the coaches go seed them. And then it's easy for that host to pull them in because he just goes in and says, oh, here's top 5, boom, pick them, pull them in, and then next team, right? So this is, the seed is copied from here into the event. And then that seed, it can be changed at the event level, is copied from there into the pairings. Okay, so there's 3 copies, and we do it that way because there are some tournaments that are run where they change the seeds between round 1 and round 2. So we have to give them the ability to change it at the event level in between rounds. Okay, so a little bit about the seeding process. Okay, so I think I've covered everything. We're right at it, but we got about 7 minutes left. Let's see, is it possible to get an IWR average for our 12 league matches? Yes, all you have to do is go to your rankings and you go to your, by the way, I just scroll, right? This, you got to scroll left and right if you're not seeing all the buttons. So let me, oops, darn, I got to go to rankings. I'm going to go to the 22-23 season, and I'm going to go to I'm going to unselect all of them and just pick the top one here. Okay. And just click away. Oh, picked a bad one. So that must be, so is there no one in that league? Let me do this. Try this. Okay, there we go. So the CCC. Okay, so these are the teams in the CCC, right? I'm looking at only the qualifying rounds, but if you want all the rounds, you could do that right here, and it looks like they're the same. So now I can see how things ended up last year in the CCC. Okay, so that's how you do that. So I hope I answered that question. So there's and well, you say 12. Well, then the other thing we're going to give you is event types, right? So now I'm going to just choose league, right? Or whatever it was last year was selected as regular season, right? So depending on how you mark that event, right, then you can leverage that to do what you want to do, right? So that's how that piece works. There will be an enhanced version of the filtering where it allows you to go in and uncheck one event that you just don't want included in this, right? So just know that you have the ability to go in here and look at this by league, okay? And this is filtered on the CCC league. Okay, what else? So will there be instances? Yes, if there are 4 golfers from the same team, then obviously they're going to have to mark for each other. If you're always 50-50, then markers will mark for each other. Teams will mark for each other. But if you've got a lopsided number, then they're going to have to do it that way. So is it possible? Okay, so we got that. So okay, so I think I've answered all the questions. Does anyone else have any other questions? No? Okay, well, good. So, coaches, I guess we're ready. Wait a minute, there's another one came in here. Hold on. When playing a duel with 6, is there any settings other than confirming no, there isn't. So you just you seed your players 1 to N. If you got 6, 7, 8, 9, whatever N would be 9, 8, 7, seed them all, and the rest is taken care of. Just make sure they're seated correctly, have it all scored out, and in the end, close the round. By the way, if you don't close a round, the system closes all rounds from that day and previous every evening. So if you close it, then you can go check the rankings right away, and they'll be there, right? So if you don't and you forget, then the system will close it for you. So yeah, it's pretty simple. What you want to do to make sure that everything is done right, get your roster solidified, get your events all created, bring the players into the event, pair them up, get it all scored, close the round. Okay, and that's the basics. So those the most important thing there is if you're bringing more than 5, make sure you seed them 1 through N, whatever that total number is. Okay. All right. Well, if you guys don't have anything else, I guess, Joe, we are right at about 3 minutes before the top of the hour, and I covered everything that I want to cover.
Yeah, I just want to clarify the question about sorting by leagues. So some leagues only count their league rankings when they play against each other. So if you have 16 dates that you play, say 12 of them are against league opponents, but then if you just sort by league, you're getting all 16. Is that correct, Doyle? You can't just siphon out the matches against your own league.
Well, no, and that's why I put that league identifier in there, Joe, because I thought that's what they would use that for. Is that
Because I thought when you click the league, that's the league championship.
no. And so we can leave it the way it is. And as long as all coaches understand that they mark the league events, those ones that you want with trying to accomplish what you're trying to accomplish, they could choose league. Now the league championship could be identified as an invitational or something else, right? So we should probably make a decision. to leverage the system to be able to give them that ability to identify league matches with the identifier league, then they could do that. And then I could come in here and choose, I would choose the type of league, right? And then I would be able to look at the division, or I mean the league settings, and I would have, and it's not in here right now, but we're going to add it, right? You're going to be able to pick the tournament type. So you'd basically pick your league, right? Turn this off, turn this on, and I would pick that. And then I would do another drop down, which we're going to be adding, and I would pick the tournament type league. And then boom, I would have just the ones that were marked as league in the CCC. And then you would have just those 12 or whatever. So if you guys want to do it that way, we should probably talk about that. And then, Joe, we would just mark that league championship with a different identifier. Does that make sense?
Yeah, because the league championship would not count toward qualifying for the state tournament, whereas regular season league events will count.
Yeah, yeah. So, I mean, as long as everyone does the same thing across the state, then we can leverage it the way it is, right? So let's go back and just take a quick review of those settings. So then what would we say, what would be but could you also use the regular season, kind of what you're talking about? What would a regular season, how does a regular season differ from a league then?
Because you can play a regular season match against a non-league opponent.
Okay, good. So then that would be the
can play against an SWC school.
There you go. Okay, so if everyone does that, right, is just what Joe just said, is a regular season is that. Invitational could be like a league championship or a non-league event, right? So you would identify league events as strictly league. It's where you're playing someone in your leagues. It's considered a league match. Then you could leverage the event type filter in the rankings to make your life easier and be able to do that sort of thing. Does that make sense?
Okay. And then an in-season tournament is, one of those special events, one of those two events, so maybe it's a best ball or whatever, that will not count toward qualifying for the state. And an invitational would be several schools getting together, like the CIAC Invitational on May 6th, that will count toward qualifying for the tournament.
Yep, that's right. And so we can make all this work. So I'm not going to make any changes then to this.
All right, then keep that.
You guys can use this the way it is. And obviously Joe then would choose state for the state championships when they get created. Okay. So Joe, we should probably document this. If you could, so that people would have access on sort of like the how to choose event types, right? As you're creating these events. It's specific to the CIAC. So
yes, I'll do that and get it out to all the schools. And there was also a question about this recording. Yeah, we'll send this recording out to ADs and we'll post it on our website also.
Okay. All right. Well, good. Joe, thank you. Thank you, coaches. I appreciate your time. And if you have, like I said, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us. Put this number, make sure it's handy, and then use the support email to email us as well.
Okay, thank you, Doyle. Thank you, everybody. Have a good season. We'll see you out there.